All right, you guys, we're back and we're live. Welcome back to our daily live feed. As you are logging on, if you'd like to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits and posing, all the fun stuff when it comes to competing. And when you get on here, say hello, chat in. What's up, Lexi? Hopefully, we will be on a good replay tonight. I know we were a little bit lagging a little last week, more than usual. The comments always lag just a little bit, but last week they were lagging more. So, what's up, guys? What's up? There we go. Everybody's popping in at the same time. That's good. Awesome. And we got our QR code right here for our website. It's shanthatorcuties.com right here. So you can always click on that. Now, somebody help me out here because I was looking everywhere and I have not seen photos from Atlanta. So I wasn't going to say anything about Atlanta tonight because I haven't seen any pictures. So I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. Does anybody know if there's pictures up anywhere? I'm still not going to say anything tonight because I haven't, even if there are photos somewhere, I haven't had a chance to review them. So what's up from Tennessee? We'll be out there for Nashville Fit Show next month. In a month, less than a month. Yeah, less than a month. But yeah, if there's photos out there for Atlanta, somebody let me know because I'll talk about it tomorrow night. I'll go through it tomorrow. Yeah, they're not on NPC News. I looked on Flex magazine because I know that they were covering that. They said no pictures today on the live from men's really. That's weird because I know Flex magazine was covering it because I was watching their YouTube, or not YouTube. I was watching their Instagram for it. But and I saw photos go up on Facebook from Wings of Strength, but there's no actual stage shots anywhere. So I don't know. I can't do a review if I don't have stage shots and there's no videos, no nothing. You know what I mean? So other than what we saw on Instagram, which doesn't really do us any good, you know. So oh well. Well, if any pictures happen to pop up between today and tomorrow, then I'll go ahead and do a little recap tomorrow on them when we preview this weekend shows. Tomorrow will be our only other live feed this week because I'll be heading to Masters Nationals on Thursday. We have a bunch of girls competing there, so that'll be a lot of fun. We have girls on Friday and Saturday, so I'm fighting for those pro cards and all that. Tonight we are going to wrap up Vancouver, Sacramento, and Asia Grand Prix. We're going to do Sacramento last because that's the one that I know the most competitors in. And then we're just going to touch on Asia real quick. And we're going to go through Vancouver a little bit. In general, those two shows, there aren't competitors in there that most of us are familiar with. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the girl that won the Asia Grand Prix. Then we're going to talk about Vancouver and some of the things that I saw. Yes, look to all the cuties competing this weekend, and congratulations to Brandy right here on her pro debut over there in Sacramento. We'll touch on that tonight too. But yeah, Vancouver was interesting too. I tried to pull up comparison shots for Sacramento, and they wouldn't load on NPC News. So I really wanted to see the comparison shots, and we'll talk about that a little bit more as we get into there. I'll try and open them again. But they were just saying that they couldn't reach the site or whatever. So I couldn't get the comparisons open. I can get the individuals open, but I can't get the comparisons. So, as we covered last week, and I actually clipped this out and reposted it too. We can only say so much when we're looking at pictures and videos versus when we're there in person. Tyler mentioned that. I always say that here on these lives. If I'm not actually there in person at these shows, then, you have to take everything with a grain of salt. And if I don't see video, if I don't see pictures or whatever, if I don't see comparisons, it's really hard for me to say, okay, this is the reason why I see that this person won or this person took third or whatever it might be, right? So Stephanie was looking for that last night too, and it's weird because I saw them Sunday. Are you talking about, Brandon, are you talking about the comparison shots? Because I was trying to open up the comparisons from Sacramento and they just weren't working. So I don't know. I'd like to see them because then I can see what people look like next to each other. But anyway, so we're going to touch on the Asia Grand Prix first because I just want to talk about the girl that won it. My computer's going slow. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, the comparisons, I went to go look at them. I looked at the top two initially at the beginning of like on Sunday or whenever it was when they first came up, but then I wanted to go back and look at the first call out and they won't load. So I don't know. Okay, so I think what I did, I think this is her. Yep. Okay. So this is the Asia Grand Prix right here, and this Dahe Jiang. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Sorry. But I wanted to kind of highlight her because she did win. And she will be going to the Olympia because of this win. So, we always talk about, we like to start to cover some of these foreign shows and things like that. Because these girls are going to be at the Olympia. So they are going to be in the mix. They are going to be doing, getting on stage with those girls, that kind of thing too. So, while we don't really go in depth with these girls as much, I do want to actually highlight them and kind of show you the good things that I think they need to kind of work on going into an Olympia prep, that kind of thing. So the first thing I want to mention too with these Asian shows that I notice a lot is that they really overglaze their athletes. So first of all, this is an amazing backdrop. Like they do really cool setups for all their shows and stuff like that. That's one of the reasons why I'm wanting to go compete in Japan, because they just treat these bodybuilders like royalty, and it's pretty freaking awesome how they do everything. So I'm kind of excited about that. But let's talk about her actual look and her physique. Love the suit color on her. I think it looks great. I think the suit cut looks great as well. But like I said, this glaze is just way over the top. And this is not just something on her. This is something across the board that I see with a lot of the athletes that are in Asia. And from what I've heard, they tend to have they have one tanner, and everybody has to use that tanning. Like you can't bring your own outside tanning. So you have to use that tan. You have to use that glaze. You have to use the people on site. I don't know if that's the case for all shows, but I have heard that is the case for some of them. So there's some pluses and minuses to that. Pluses to that are everybody looks the same, at least. Minuses are if you know how your skin responds to certain things, you can't do anything about it if you can't change it, because you have to do it a certain way because of the show. So, I don't want to falter too much on the glaze, but this is a lot. So the first thing that I see here is that she's got a really great shape and frame and look and everything. I love the pose. I think actually a lot of the Asian countries, they do posing a lot better than they do in Europe. There's a lot of European competitors when they come here to the States, they really need some help with kind of adjusting their posing and their routines and things like that. I don't see the same scenario when we're looking at the Asian competitors. They tend to have really good posing. Now, what I would say here is that she's a little bit quad dominant here in comparison to her upper body. I don't think she needs to pull her quads down. What I think she should work on between now and the Olympias, I think she needs a little bit more of that upper outer glute pop right here on that front pose. And I think she needs some more shoulders. She's got a lot of lat here, but they're not really rewarding the lat pull out here in the States. So she would be better off kind of relaxing the lat pull out and letting the shoulder round out a little bit more. But in order to do that, she's going to have to actually grow a little bit of shoulders, right? So this pose right here would have done very, very well in the Issa era, right? But now it's going to get penalized a bit. So what I would say is that as she's posing right now, I think this is good. I think this is a good pose for her frame because she doesn't have big shoulders in comparison to her lower half. But I think that going into the Olympia, what I would do with her is, again, I'd work on getting a little bit more upper glute pop, and I would work on getting a little bit more shoulders here so that she can relax that lat a little and still have the same shape. That would be my 2 cents on the front pose here. Let's take a look at the back pose. Now, again, when we go into these Asian shows, they do a bazillion pictures. So I have to go way down deep in order to get a good photo. I think this is a good back shot. Okay. So same thing from the back here. From the back, she's definitely lower body dominant. And some of this is her pose. She's bending too much. So because she's bending too much, it's actually flattening her glutes out, and she's bending through that lower back too much. If she stood up a little taller here, then it would absolutely balance her frame out. It wouldn't make her lower half look so big in comparison to her upper half. It would give her more delts up top. It would give her a better shape across the top, and it would round these glutes out and give her more 3D projection on these glutes if she just stood up a little bit and didn't arch quite so much. Yes, her shape is amazing, absolutely. But again, this is just a posing tweak, right? And again, way too much glaze. She's got an incredible lower body, right? The calves are ridiculous, like all of that. She's just posing too hard. If she stood up a little taller, that would open her back up. We'd see those roundness of the delts. Her waistline would look teeny tiny, and then her glutes would pop outward versus being flat on the top. So that's the change that I would make on the back pose. Other than that, I wouldn't do anything else. I would just stand up. And then she'd be good to go. But it's a very polished look. It's a very pretty look. Overall, if she fixes a couple of little things, she could actually be very competitive here in the States. So I was looking at her competition history, and I don't think she's really done anything yet. I think this, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been her pro debut. Was that what I was looking at? I think maybe, let me look at it real quick. Yeah, I mean, I think it was her pro debut, because unless they just didn't put it up here. I mean, her last show was the NPC Worldwide, which is not Pro League, obviously. So this may have been her pro debut. Actually, look at this. Okay, so you see this photo right here where she's transitioning into her back pose? See how she's standing up? And see how much fuller her glutes look right there? You guys see that? That's where she should be with this pose. That's where she should be with this pose. So let me actually pull this up and kind of move through the motions, and I'll show you as we go through this pose and as she sets into it, what happens to her glutes. Okay, so see how round and 3D her glutes actually are when she's standing up tall? Right? Let's go to the next shot. We'll just kind of go through each one of these. She's round and round and round and round. I'm wondering if I can. That's enough. You can see it. Go like this. Round. She's starting to flatten out. Not bad, not bad, not bad. But she's starting to push. She's starting to push. Not bad. And now she's pushing. Look at her push. Look at her push, and see how that just flattens her whole glute out. As soon as she starts pushing, her glutes are flattening. Type into the comments. Tell me if you can see what I'm telling you. And she's pushed. See the difference? Flat. Right there. Versus, I wonder if it's even better before this. Let me see. Trying to get her into a almost spot. No, she doesn't have glute striations. Not at all. Here we go. Okay, so there's flat versus standing up and rounding out. See the difference? Right? She's standing up so tall here, and we see that roundness in her glute up here. That roundness in her glute up here. And then she's got that 3D projection on those glutes. She's got incredible glutes. She just needs to stand upright. That's all. Yep. And no, there's definitely no glute striations. She's got no striations on her at all. She's nice and full. Her conditioning is great. Her conditioning's right on. What you're probably seeing is the glaze. It's just too much glaze. Just these girls in these Asian countries, their tanners are screwing them. Putting too much glaze on them. So, but yeah, no, this is a really, really good look. If she fixes a few things, she could be really competitive over here in the States for sure. 100%. So anyway, I wanted to highlight that. Really good job, especially if it's a pro debut. I'm pretty sure it's a pro debut. That's ridiculous, right? So, yep, standing up tall is a big deal. It's a big deal, guys. Okay, so let's go to Vancouver next. So Vancouver was small, and most of these girls, we don't know them because they're Canadian competitors, that kind of thing. Obviously, Ashley won it, which we assumed that's what would happen. When I was initially looking through the photos and stuff like that, I actually had a hard time understanding why she had won, because some of these girls look really, really good. But then I started looking at the comparisons, and I get it. So we're going to go through each individual competitor first, and then we'll go through the comparisons on this particular show. I do think it's a good thing to do shows where we don't know the competitors very well, because we don't have any kind of bias and we can look at them with a clean, fresh eye. So I think that's actually really helpful when we don't know who they are. So let's look at 5th place, and it is Rhoda. Really nice shape here. These photos also are a little bit shadowy and dark, so it's a little hard to see some places. Like you get some shadows underneath here and things like that, which doesn't help. But overall, this is a good look. Nice tight little waistline. Now she does have a short torso in comparison to her legs. So I might tweak this pose just a little bit and try to lengthen that torso a little, just by kind of twisting a little bit more. But this could be the right spot for her. I would just want to see other angles and see what they look like. To me, she looks nice and full, like through her shoulders, but she looks a little bit hard through her legs. Like this quad has some graininess to it. We're seeing some vascularity here, that kind of thing. So I think she could have been fuller. I think that probably would have helped her balance with her upper body as well. Because I think on its own, their upper body looks fine, but then once you put it with her lower body, I don't think it's quite full enough. Just in the shoulders, really. I think her biceps and triceps and stuff are fine, but we're seeing a little bit of striation in the shoulder here. So I think she could have been a little fuller in the top half. And again, I would probably adjust this pose just a touch to see if we could get it to be a little bit better balanced. But overall, this is not a bad shape and not a bad look. She's got a nice flat, tight tummy, all of that. Pretty look. Looks good. I would just be careful. Like I said, this graininess in the quad, we don't really want to see that in bikini. Which is a little bit too much, a little bit too hard. So I would just work on balancing that conditioning from the top to bottom with her from the front pose. And then she's got ridiculous glutes from the back, but it's almost like she needs them to sit up a little higher. Like this, she reminds me a little bit of India Paulino with her glutes, those really long hamstring drops, which can actually make them look a little overpowering. Now, again, I think she's a touch too dry because of her calves. You can see how cut her calves are here. It looks to me like she's bending in the knees a little. I wouldn't bend that much. I would stand up taller. She's also pushing back on her elbows here, so I would probably relax that a little bit. Go just a touch shorter on the hair. And it looks like she's just bending too much through her lower back, through her knees, things like that. I'd probably just straighten this pose up a little bit. Yeah, her glutes are ridiculous. I mean, she's got incredible genetics, right? So, but the issue with that is that, again, when we're talking about these really long hamstring drops, it can almost be too much. It can almost be too overpowering. And again, I think if she was to get rid of some of this hair back here and we could see her lower back, I think that would actually help. Because right now, all I'm seeing is lower body. You know what I mean? I'm not seeing hardly anything from her upper body at all, other than her delts out here on the side. And I want to see her lower back. So I think it could just be a posing thing and also a filling out thing. I think she's just a little bit too hard in the lower half. She's got these hard lines here. I think if she filled out a little bit, pumped her glutes up and posed a little bit differently, I think this would look better. Overall, again, she's got incredible genetics here, but you got to be careful with that conditioning. You got to be careful with that posing when you got hamstrings or glutes that are so powerful like that, because then they overpower everything, right? Bikini is not a sum of parts. It's how everything balances itself together. So I mentioned this when we were talking about Brittany Gillespie the other week. You got to balance all those parts together, right? And I think that's what she's got going on here. We got to balance these glutes with everything else. Overall, really good look, though. And I think this might be a pro debut, maybe. Is it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a pro debut for her. Yeah. I'm pretty sure this was a pro debut for her. So really good job for a pro debut for sure. Okay, so Nikki is next. What did I just do with my thing? There it is. So this is 4th place here. This girl's got a nice round physique, but posing issues. Posing. We met Nikki at Jen's Atlantic Coast show. She came in 6th. I told her to watch your recap. Oh, okay. Nice. Then she did that. That was not her pro debut then. That was not her pro debut then. Oh, no, this is Nikki. Sorry, this is Nikki. That other one was, sorry, I'm forgetting names. This is Nikki right here. Okay. So she's a little soft. You can see it through her shoulders. She's a little soft through here. So conditioning needs a little bit of work. And posing, she's really twisted to the side here, and that doesn't do anything for your shape when you twist that much. We need to see a little bit more open through here, a little bit more open through the upper body. That's going to give her a lot more shape if she does that. Let's see. She just looks really straight up and down here. Now, also this shoulder, I tell you guys about this all the time. This is a pet peeve. This shoulder's popped up. She needs to relax this shoulder down. So that's just a matter of pulling this hand down a little bit. That would relax this shoulder right here. But overall, this whole front pose, I would rework this entire front pose. I think she's got a better physique than what she's showing right here. I think she's got a better physique than what she's shown here. Pretty look as far as the makeup and hair and suit and everything like that's concerned. Just got to work on that posing. Let's take a look from the back. And from the back, again, this is where the conditioning comes into play and posing. So conditioning is a little bit off, just a little. She's got some thick muscularity on that lower body. So because of that, you got to come in tight. You got some quads, quads, calves. I keep saying that tonight for some reason. I keep calling calves quads tonight for some odd reason. She's got some calves on her. But those got to come in tight. The upper glute here, she could use some more upper and medial glute in the center here. We're looking at a lot of leg here. You know what I mean? So, again, tweak the pose with her. I would probably put her toes straight forward and not out at all, and just get those knees to pop a little bit so the glutes pop up. Because what I'm looking at here, I look at legs, and I want to be looking at a balance. Again, just like we were talking about the last girl, we want to balance. Upper body, she's pinching. Needs to relax that upper body, let the arms come down, let the elbows come in. That would absolutely open up this whole back pose for her and look a whole lot better if she just relaxed that upper body. So in general, I think that she's just over posing here. I just think she's over posing this, and just needs to relax it a little bit. And then I would also say she needs some more glutes. But yeah, that would be my 2 cents. I think the suit cut's fine, but I just think she needs some more fullness in the glutes. Okay, Tiana is up next. Let's grab a front shot. Okay. So again, another pretty girl. Front pose is okay. I might make a few adjustments, like bring the hand down a little bit. This hand just looks a little bit funny here, so I'd probably just relax the arm and twist the thumb out a little. I think the rest of the placement is pretty good, but again, I'd just like to see a little bit more shape here. So maybe just a matter of taking this knee, see how it's pointed away from us, bring the knee towards us. I think that would open her up a little bit more, give her a little bit more shape to that lower body. I think the upper body's fine where it's at, but I'd just like to see her twist a little bit more with that lower body. Just give me a little bit more. And that would probably enhance her shape quite a bit right there. Yeah, I think the upper body twist is fine. I just think I'd like to I would like to see the lower body adjusted a little bit. Maybe bring the toe around a little, pop that glute a little bit more, give her a little bit more of a V into that waistline. She's another one with a shorter torso. So I would just bring that around a little bit more and try to accentuate that V just a little bit more. Pretty look though. Let's see what she looks like from the back. Here we go. All right. So again, from the back, I think her lower half is okay where it is, but to me, it looks like she's really pinching back or something here in her upper body, because see how short her upper body looks in comparison to her lower. There's like, you can see where her back strap is. There's like hardly any space between her back strap and her lower body. Now, I think that's a matter of tilting too much. I think she needs to stand up a little taller. And if she stands up a little taller, I think this hair will hit a little higher. Right now, the hair's too long because it's actually hitting the top of her glutes. We can't see the top of her lower back, and it makes her look really short in that upper body. I actually think her lower body's pretty good as far as the pose. I would still probably like to see a little bit more of that medial delt. I keep saying the wrong words today. Bear with me. You guys know what I mean. The glute, the middle of the glute. I'd like to see more of that. It's been a long day, you guys. I worked out at the shop today with no AC and I was dripping in sweat all day. Oh my God, I was dying. Anyway, that's why I got the energy drink, because I was dying when I got home from my workout, man. Oh, goodness gracious. So now I'm just saying wrong words. So I know, for real, man. It needs to hit like right now. Like right the fuck now. So anyway, so I would just stand up a little taller here and just kind of rework this back pose. I don't, if she is standing up tall here, then she needs to cut her hair. Needs to figure out a little bit of something here to make her upper and lower half look a little bit more balanced. But I just think she might be pushing too much. Again, this is one that I'd like to see move around a little bit and see if it could be a little bit of a better positioning than what she's got going on right here. And who knows, maybe it'll help her glutes spill out a little bit if she stands up too. Okay, so Maxine is next. Great shape on this girl. This is a really good front pose. So see what I'm talking about with her being a little bit more open in the hips. It just opens her up a little bit more, makes that V into her waistline a lot more prominent. That's what we're looking at. That's where my eye goes first. Every time I'm looking at these front poses, I go straight to that waistline. And I go straight to that, okay, what is the curve of the waistline into the glutes and all of that? She's got a really nice curve into her lower back and her glute here. With her balance of her body, she's a little overpowering on her lower half. I don't necessarily think she needs to bring the muscularity down on her lower half, maybe a little bit. I think it's more so that she needs to just add some more shoulders. Kind of what I was talking about the girl in the Asia Grand Prix. She's not lat flaring, so I'm not concerned about that. She's got great shape here, but I just like to see more delt so that it matches her glutes and her quads. Now, again, I don't necessarily think that her quads are too big. They're full, they're round, all of that, but they're just too big in comparison to her upper half right now. I think she needs more size up top. Even through here, through the clavicle and stuff like that, you can see how bony this is. You got to be careful with that. Some people ask me, do you need to train chest in bikini? I think so. Again, we're talking about a balanced physique. I'm not saying you have to sit there and bench press, 500 pounds, nothing like that. But, working your chest and having a little bit of meat up there will help when you get really lean. So a lot of girls get really, really super lean right here through the chest. So just adding a little bit of muscle in there, a little bit of tissue in there will help. And then, like I said, I would also add some delts on here too. Because again, I don't think she needs to bring the lower half down. I think she needs to bring the upper half up. And then lower half. I'm sorry, back half. Lower half looks good. I don't think I would change anything about her lower half. Upper half, I would bring the elbows in. Bring the arms down a little bit. And I'm not saying all the way in. I'm just saying like an inch. Bring them in an inch. I think if she was to relax the arms down a little bit, it would help her delts pop a little bit more. Because really from the back, you can really see how she's very lower body dominant here versus upper body. So I would still say she still needs to grow some upper body. But if she posed the upper body a little bit more relaxed, that would probably help her open up a little bit more and get those delts to pop a little bit more and balance her just a little bit more. But in general, I would say the posing is not bad. She just needs to grow. She just needs to grow some upper half of her frame to match her lower half. And she's new too. I think that was a pro debut for her too. This is the only thing we have on here for her. So I think that was her first pro show. I think. I don't know. Somebody can tell me if I'm wrong. And then we have Ashley winning it. So to be honest, like I see the same things here with Ashley that I saw at the last show. I watched her routine from this show and I thought it was, again, she's gotten a lot better and a lot smoother with her walking specifically. And her posing is looking a lot better. Again, I'm not a fan of the green. I like the red. I would much rather see her in the red than the green. That's me personally. Now, last show, I mentioned it looked like she had a little bit of water on her lower back. She does not have that this time, but I do see a little bit of distension in the lower abs here. So I know from what I've heard, they're just trying different things. Like at this point, like I've told you guys before, I mean, the point of getting on stage show after show, if you're already Olympic qualified, is to try different things. So maybe they tried a little bit of something different going into this show to see how it would work. I think he said it was a pretty view. It wasn't a first show with him. Can't remember. Oh, okay. For the last girl. Gotcha. So do I think this is Ashley's best look? No. I mean, it was enough to win this show. But I think she's a little soft. Same thing as she was the last show. I think she's a little soft from the front. And I think it's the ab distension that I'm seeing mostly more than anything else. The last show that she did, it was the lower back. This show, it's the lower abs. So I don't know what they're doing differently between each show to try, but it's like it's either front or back. But again, I mean, where she always is hard to beat is in the back pose. So I would say even in this back pose, same thing as I've been saying for the other girl, she's pinching, I would add some more hair here. The hair is really sparse. So I would add some more hair. This looks really thin. So I don't know, maybe a couple extra extensions or something like that. I know she wears wigs sometimes too. So maybe just a little bit of thicker or something like that. This again, just looks pinched to me. And they don't give us a lot of photos, but still that's her full back pose. So, I mean, you can't beat her glutes. That's her glutes are her glutes. They're going to be what they are. But I would say her upper body, if she needs to bring those elbows down a little bit. Again, like I've been talking with about those other girls. So those delts just pop out nice. That's just a little pinch to me. Let's look at the comparison shots. So this is your top three. So they did a top. No, that's not top three. What is this? I thought I had top three. Hang on. I think this is your top three right here. Pretty sure. I got it this time. At least they're in the top call out, right? I think this is your top three, right? First, second, third. If that's right. Anyway. So looking at this, I can give an argument for this girl in the center, the second place. Again, I don't remember her name off the top of my head. I can give the argument for her, but what I see is what I mentioned in her individual shots, that her lower body just overpowers her upper body. I think overall her conditioning, her pose, all of that, I think is actually better. But I think her balance on her shape, on her frame is not. I think that's where Ashley beats them is her balance from top to bottom. Conditioning is really, really good. And also conditioning is really, really good on both of them. This girl just has that really short torso. So that's going to be hard to overcome. But she looks great. I would say that this girl just needs to work on that upper body. Like I said, just add some more shoulder. Because even here, it looks like Ashley has more shoulder than her. So I would add some shoulder to match the glute. I mean, maybe bring the quad down a little bit, but I don't know. I mean, I think she's okay if she brings the upper body up. I think she just needs to bring the upper body up. When we get them to the back, so here's the back shot. So this is really a tight race from the back. I mean, what you see here, though, is you can really see the 3D projection on Ashley versus the other two. They have really great glutes. I mean, don't get me wrong. They look great. But Ashley's just got more upper projection out towards, like, it's just like a beach ball, basically. And we just don't have that same thing from that medium part of that glute from these two girls, right? And then we look up at the upper half. And again, she's pinching. I actually like her upper body right here. but again, it's just a really short frame, short torso on the upper half, versus these girls just have better genetically built frames, right? But I think actually her pose on the top half right here is better than the other two. It's just the actual proportions of the frame. So I get why Ashley won this, because of the balance. But these other two girls are really close. I mean, they're really close in what they brought. I just think overall genetics wise, I think that Ashley beats them because of the balance of her shape, like her length of her torso and her legs and everything, but also just the projection of the glutes. So I think it was very, very close. And I think if this girl right here had shoulders that matched her lower body, I think she could have given Ashley a little bit of a tougher run for her money here. It's just about balance. So do you guys see anything different from what I see? Type into the comments and let me know what you think. Does that make sense? And I'll be honest, like I'm kind of glad that Ashley's winning with softer conditioning, because I'm hoping that kind of translates to everybody. I like the softer conditioning personally, just my 2 cents. But I don't know if it's going to transfer over to everybody, so we'll see. So let's move on to Sacramento. So before we go into this, let me see if I can get the comparisons to pop up, or if they're not. No, comparisons are not going to work for us tonight, unfortunately. Oh well. We'll just go through our top 5 then. So this particular show was full of Olympians and girls that have placed really well, all that kind of stuff. So it was a very, very tough show from top to bottom. And it was also one of those shows where nobody was really a strength, like this girl's going to win. You know, like when you see Ashley Kaltwasser on there, you think, okay, she could come in and win this. This show wasn't like that. This show had a lot of girls in here that have done well, but are not dominant competitors, right? So looking at this show and looking at these photos, it was a little bit difficult for me to make some clear decisions on feedback and things like that, because I felt like the photos made everybody look really thin, and they also made everybody look washed out. So I'm not sure exactly what they look like in person, and that's kind of why I wanted to pull up the comparisons, but I can't do that for whatever reason. It's not working. So we'll just go through each girl and kind of talk about them a little bit. But first, I want to bring up Brandy, because Brandy's here. Our girl made her pro debut. So let's get her up and get a good front shot. And this show has a lot of photos too, so that's good. Let's see. Let's see if we can get a good one where you're smiling. Kind of nuts. Kind of smiling, Brandy. Kind of. There we go. Okay, we got a smile. Perfect. Awesome. So I'm just going to talk about Brandy just real quick. So this was her pro debut. She did a phenomenal job, had a great look. And I'm going to pick on you a little bit, Brandy, because when she got off stage, she thought she didn't do very well at all, and she did actually phenomenally well. She placed 11th. So we were kind of joking about that a little bit, laughing about that a little bit, but she looked really, really good. For pro debut, this is a fantastic look. Overall, I think just needs a little bit more size, that just be an extra little bit of fullness too, that kind of thing. I know that Brandy mentioned her feedback was she just needed some more glutes. I know some of you guys are going to say, where does she need more glute? Like, she has a phenomenal glute profile from the front. She's got that teeny tiny little waistline. This is a phenomenal front pose. I might be a little bit biased because I do pose her myself. So I might be a little bit biased as to how good her front pose is personally. But I'm just going to say it because she's not completely sideways. She's on a little bit towards the judges. So it really shows that V into her waistline, shows that pop on that upper part of her glute right here, and the balance in her shoulders. Now, from the front, I could say that she probably needs a little bit more shoulder pop here, just to balance with the glutes. Maybe roll that shoulder open just a touch more. Let's see if that gets into a different position. There we go. Her eyes are closed, but her delts are out. So That's where we want that delt to be, right there, because it's nice and round right there. But again, it could use a little bit more fullness in order to match the glutes from the front. Conditioning, in my opinion, is right on. I just know I wasn't keeping my gut in check or my glutes high. That's what I thought. That's why I thought that. Yeah, no, I think you're good. I think your waistline's good. Your snatch, like I told you, we had to not only take the suit down to the last rung, but go beyond that in order to get it to fit on your glutes that day. She's definitely too small for the suit in the waistline. So, but yeah, overall, really good front pose. Just needs some more fullness, I would say. And normally I wouldn't critique her, but she's here on our live feeds every night, so she gets special treatment. So. Let's get her to the back. So here, well, it'll click. There we go. Here's where we need a little bit more size, right? Okay, so there's the glute shot. As far as the pose is concerned, what am I doing? Holy geez. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So as far as the pose is concerned, the pose looks great, but we just need some more size in general. So now this is where I'm going to also say this is photography for the show too, because a lot of people from the back looked washed out. She looks a little washed out here. That's not her conditioning. That's just the photography. So I'd like to see a little bit more width in that upper body to get those delts to pop out. And I'd like to see a little bit more upper outer glute. Now we got a little bit of an imbalance in the glutes here too. Like this glute's a little bit bigger than this one. So I'd like to see this glute just catch up, come up and out and project outward this way. I think she's got good projection when she's from that front profile and going through the transitions, but from the back, we need a little bit more projection. So and I believe that was what your feedback was too, Brandy, if I'm not mistaken. Sandy said you needed more glutes. So in general, I thought she brought a really good package. I just think she needs to fill that upper outer out a little bit more. That's my coach. There you go. I love it. But I think the package itself, the suit, hair, makeup, tan, all of that stuff was on point. And I think just a matter of a little bit more growth will get her up into that top call out. And that could just be a matter of filling out a little bit more too. I know she was pushing for conditioning for this show. Got the conditioning there, but now that you're there, now you can work on filling out a little bit more, right? So yeah, that you're a little narrow. Correct. Yes, I would agree with that. So if we can get some more glute pop on the outside here for you, that's going to make your waistline look smaller. Same thing with the upper body. That's going to make your waistline look smaller, all of that. So, but overall, really good job and great pro debut, right? So had to give her a little shout out. Did phenomenal. Very proud. Mama Cutie's very proud. So let's go to fifth, which was Maya. So Maya Sabi was fifth. She mentioned on her Instagram that she was going back to the red, which I was very happy about. I 100% think that the red is way better on her personally. She did come in softer at this particular show than the last one, which was a very good call. She was too lean at the last show. I actually like this front pose a little bit better too. There's something about it. I think she's a little bit more open on it. I do like it a little bit better. I see a little bit of lower ab distension. That could be from eating and filling out. I'd like to see a little bit more shoulder up on top here and maybe just tilt up a little bit more on that lower back. Let me see if we got any other. Oh, that was the end of that pose. So yeah, but overall, I think this is definitely an improved look from where she was from the last show. And I absolutely like this suit. The look, the glam, everything much better this week than what she had at her last show. I'd relax the hand a little bit. I tell you guys this all the time. You see tension through the hands. Just let those fingers relax a little. That would help in that particular pose. But yeah, I try to push and tilt the pelvis a little bit more, get that up a little higher, pull that waistline in a little bit tighter. And I think that would be a better look right here. Let's go to a back shot. I think she's fully posed here. Yep. So she definitely got fuller in the back, which was definitely necessary. But same thing I mentioned with Ashley, she needs some more hair on her back here. So whether it's a matter of just taking her hair that's in the front and pushing it back, need some hair back here to kind of cover this up a little bit. She's a scenario where I'd probably pull the hands in not up, but just in, because I'm looking at hands right here. So I want to see the hands come in a little bit. I think that would also help to pop the delts if she did that. Glutes definitely look better when they're fuller, but she also lost a little bit of that tie-in. But again, like I said, these photos all look a little bit washed out. So that could just be the photo too. It might not be her conditioning. It might be the photo itself. Still needs a little bit more fullness in those glutes. Just like we were talking about before from the last week, but overall, this is a better look. I would just like to see a little bit more size in those glutes. And just a couple of little presentation things. Like I said, putting the hair on the back would definitely help so that my attention goes to your delts versus your back, right? So get that hair on the back there. Because then also when you start tilting, then you start seeing these skin folds and everything like that too. So we need the hair to cover that so that I'm not looking at that, right? So those are the little things I would fix. Hands in, hair on the back. Try to get the delt to pop a little bit better. Overall, the pose on the lower half, I wouldn't change it. Just add some more size to the glutes. So there's that. So Jordan was in fourth. And something I talked to both Jordan and Brandy about is that the show itself was super hot. So one of the reasons why I wanted to see the comparison shots is I wanted to see what everybody looked like in the comparison shots. Because I listened to Jordan's stories where she was talking about how she looked really good when she first came out for the initial comparisons. And then as the show went on, she started to flatten out because it was just so hot in there. So I wanted to see what the comparisons looked like, but unfortunately I can't pull those pictures up. So overall, I think her stomach is nice and flat here. I think this is a good pose, all of that. I'd like to see some, a little bit more fullness maybe in the shoulders. I mentioned that the last time too, the last show. But she's nice and tight everywhere here. So again, I really wish I could see those comparison shots. I think it would help me understand what was going on a little bit better. Get to the back. From the back, we look like we've lost some volume in the glutes on the upper glute. So I think the pose is good. I just think we need some more size up here. And maybe that's where she was saying she flattened out throughout this whole process, because I remember her talking, and I remember seeing videos and pictures from the last show she was in, and her glutes looked a whole lot fuller than this. Now, again, as I mentioned, the last couple of girls, these photos did wash the girls out quite a bit. So I don't think this is a true depiction of what her glutes actually looked like on stage. But I think this is also a process of her flattening out through the show because of the heat. And this is probably affecting the other girls too. Like I said, I think the pose itself is good. I just think she looks flat to me. And again, I would like to see some comparisons because I feel like she looked a lot better in her glutes just like last week. So I'm curious to see the comparisons. Hopefully they'll work at some point so I can look through them. All right. Brittany was third. I think this was actually a really good look for Brittany. She got away from the black suit, which I was happy about. She got some color in there with that green. I'd still like to see brighter color. This is still a muted, darker color. And when you are that blonde, I'd just like to see a jewel tone, right? So go emerald green versus this dark green. I think that would be helpful. Glam is definitely better. I've noticed this in a lot of her photos on stage. She just looks really shiny through the forehead. So maybe just make sure that you blot your forehead down with some powder or something like that right before you go on stage, just to keep that shine away. Because I would say that this glam is better than what I saw at the last couple of shows from her, but it still just looks shiny to me. So just make sure you can blot that down. Pose is better. I still would like to see her pose more straight on. I think she's still too sideways with her waistline. I just feel like if she was to bring her hips around towards us a little bit, we'd see a much better, more balanced V here. And I think that would balance her frame out a lot better. I do think that this was really good, though. I think this is a lot, like I said, this is a lot better than what I've seen from her in the last couple of shows. I think she mentioned she thought this was her best look this year. I think I would agree with that. I think this is a really good look for her. I just think that there's still potential in this front pose to bring, if she brings that hip around a little bit, I think it would help to balance that front pose out. Let's take a look at her back. And then from the back, again, I think this is a pretty balanced look for her from the back. I've said in the past, she's a little bit unbalanced from glutes to legs, that kind of thing. I feel like her legs came down a little bit here. She is tilted a little bit off to one side. That comes from posing on one side in your front pose. I tell you guys this all the time. Make sure you're posing on both sides so that you don't get this little imbalance where you tilt to one side. Jennifer Dory had the same issue when she was at the Olympia. Listen to me, guys. Make sure that you're practicing on both sides. She's got some good projection here. You can see the 3D pop here. She looks a little bit soft through here, but that could also be the lighting in the photos. Like I've been saying with each one of these girls, this could just be the photos. I do think this is probably the best balance I've seen from her glutes and legs, probably the whole year. So I just probably fix this pose a little bit, maybe tilt up a little higher in the lower back. Let's see if we've got a different shot where she's in a better position. She's tilting a little bit more here. Okay. So here we got some more tilt. That's better. This is more of the full pose. So she's tilting a little bit more in that lower back here. So that's good. That gives her a little bit more pop here. What it does do also, though, is it also pops the legs out a little bit more. So now you can see where she needs some more size in that upper glute, that middle glute, all of that. Just add some more size to the glute here in the back. Bring the legs down. Keep bringing the legs down a little bit. And she's still tilted a little bit off to the side. So fix that imbalance there. And then this would be a really, really good back pose. When she comes back, I think I saw her mention that this is going to be her last show for the season. So when she comes back on stage, I just would really love to see her posing revamped, and I would love to see a different colored suit, a bright colored suit, maybe a bright blue or something like that on her would look really, really good. I think that could make a big difference for her. But I think it's posing and overall look that would make a big difference, and then just kind of refining her shape overall. She's got a phenomenal shape. It's just about fine-tuning it, right? And I think she has been getting better each show. And then we have Allie's, who just won her pro card. This is her second show as a pro. She won the overall at the DC Pro-Am as an amateur. Then she won the overall at Junior Nationals. She was top 10, I think, at her first show. Was that right? Yeah, she was 9th. So she took second here. So she's doing very, very well. So overall in the front pose, my only critique here really is that she needs to watch this waistline. Waistline's blown out a little bit. She's also got some splotchiness going on in her tan, and that could just be from doing so many back-to-back shows. Gotta be careful with the tanning, you guys. Gotta be careful with the tanning. I think that overall her frame is really good. I think she just, and again, I hate saying that she looks thin because I think that these photos are all making the girls look a little bit thinner than they actually are. But to me, this just looks a little bit thin for me. So I'd like to see a little more fullness on her upper body. I think her lower body's pretty good. I don't think I would change a whole lot other than I'd like to see her pop that glute up a little bit more. So now that she's kind of getting into the pose a little bit better, you can see she's got a little bit more pop. Maybe take the suit up a little bit. That might help with that. But in general, I just like to see a little bit more pop on that glute here. A little bit more pop in the shoulders. You can see she's got some vascularity and striations in the shoulders, so she needs a little bit more size here. And again, the waistline just needs to come real, real tight in. We got a little bit of inflammation or whatever it might be here in the lower back. So all of that, if she can pull that in super tight, little bit more pop, right? And I think she'll be right on. But that's just a matter of putting some more size on, to be honest with you. Looks like she probably distended just a little bit, probably was trying to fill out, maybe. I don't really know. But depending on how much she was eating to try to stay full, this could be where that's coming from. Let's take a back shot. Got a ton of photos in this show, too. All right, here we go. Here's the back shot. So again, I think that her overall back pose is very good. I would just like to see some more size on top of it. So a little bit more size on the shoulders, a little bit more size in the glutes. I think if she was to take a good off season and come back with another layer of muscle on top of this frame, I think she'd be very, very good. I think she could easily win a show. Can she win a show now? Probably, and she was probably maybe a little bit flat going into this show, just based on what I've been talking to other girls about with the heat and all that kind of stuff. Maybe that affected how full she was, that kind of thing. Who knows? But I do think that if she was to take a good off season to put another layer of muscle on top, she's going to end up being a little bit rounder through the delts and everything. This fullness in the glutes is going to pop a lot more. And then she's going to really showcase that shape a whole lot better. So I think she just needs a little bit more size everywhere. And then she'd be an Olympian for you right there. And then your winner's Ariel. So she made it back to the Olympia. So again, I really feel like these photos, I'm just going to say it over and over again. I feel like these photos made these girls look soft, washed out, and skinny. I don't think they all looked like that in general, like in person for real. I don't think they look like that, but that's what I see through the pictures themselves. To me, this just makes her look a little thin. And I'm still not a huge fan of that push forward in a pelvic tilt. I'd like to see her push back. And then that would probably round her shoulder out quite a bit more. Waistline's tight, all of that. Again, I just like to see this pelvic tilt push back. If we do that, I think this would be perfect. And then I wouldn't have any other critiques about this particular pose if that pelvis was pushed back. I like the dark hair. I don't think I've ever seen her. I don't know if did she wear the dark hair like this at her last show? I can't remember if she wore this hair dark, this dark at the last show, but I like it. I think it looks really good on her. Probably need to pull it out of the face a little bit more. I want to see that pretty face. You know, she's got those beautiful eyes and smile. I just don't want to see the hair covering her. So that's my critique on the hair. My biggest critique on this whole look though is just the pelvic tilt in the front pose. That's it. Other than that, I'm good. She did wear dark the last one. Okay, I couldn't remember. I think it was those muscle contest photos. So all the colors were off. So that's probably why I didn't realize it. Let's see. Back pose is pretty much right on. I mean, this is where she won the show. Honestly, this is where she won the show. And again, photo makes her look a little bit more washed out than she actually is. But she's definitely right on with the conditioning here, I think. And she's got those long hamstring drops that we were just talking about with the other girl, I think it was Rhoda in Vancouver. But the difference here is that Ariel's standing up nice and tall in this back pose. That's the biggest difference. And you see that upper body. So her glutes don't look super overpowering because you can see some of her skin and everything on her upper body too. So that helps to balance. So again, going back to what I was saying about, I think her name was Rhoda in Vancouver. If you have those really strong genetics and those really long drops and those hamstrings and those glutes, you have to be aware of that so that you can balance your frame. Ariel did a good job of balancing her frame, right? And I did notice that with the fight between Allie and Ariel. I need more energy drink tonight, you guys. I'm dying. But I did notice that. I did notice them do that comparison, everything back and forth. If I had to guess, I would say, I think Ariel definitely won it from the back. I think that's where she won the show. I don't know what the scorecard was. I think they have the scorecards up. I just didn't even look at it as far as who, who placed where, what, and all that kind of stuff as far as the split on the scorecards. Let me see. Let me pull it up. That's the Governor's Cup scorecard. So that is the Asian Grand Prix. That's not Governor's Cup. Yeah, they definitely put the Asia Grand Prix scorecard underneath the Governor's Cup scorecard. So never mind. What if they flipped it here? Let me look. Nope, they got the Asia Grand Prix up. Let me see. Let me see if we can pull these scorecards up by any chance. Results. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, it was split. Like Ariel had 3 as far as her score, and Allie had 6. So, I mean, it was definitely 1 and 2, right? Yeah, it's up on IFBB. It's flipped on NPC News. Like, they've got the scorecard up on NPC News. If you click on it, it goes to the Asia Grand Prix scorecard. If you go to ifbb.com, ifbbpro.com, then it is on there. So no, it was 6 and 3 for the scoring. So it was definitely a 1 and 2 for sure. Which I would agree with. I think that it was to me, it's a pretty clear win. But that's just because of the back pose. Honestly, that's just because of the back pose. Because I think where Ariel's going to need to work is going to be just fixing that front pose. Personally, I think fix the front pose and you're good, right? There we go. Okay, so what do you guys think? Anything I didn't say or anything you had questions about? I think it was pretty clear across the board. I wish I could see comparison shots from the Sacramento show, because that would help me see a little bit better what the judges were comparing. Sometimes when I look at individual shots, I'm like, I don't understand how this person placed here. I don't understand how they placed there, whatever. But then as soon as you see them in comparisons, like, oh, that makes complete sense, right? So if I was able to see comparisons, I'd be able to make a little bit better of an assessment as far as where the placings are, why, that kind of thing. And like I said, if we have photos by tomorrow, then I'll go ahead and review Atlanta too, but we don't have any photos right now. So Tara Grier did win that show. You know, she's been pushing for it, several shows. So congratulations to her. I can't really make any comments about it because all I've seen is what was on Instagram. So hopefully we'll get some photos or something. But if not, what we'll do is we'll preview this weekend's shows coming up. So Chicago Pro this coming weekend, and that's a big one. So we'll preview that one tomorrow night for sure. And then we're off to the races with Masters Nationals this coming weekend. And then next week is the Clash of the Titans here in Virginia. And then we have Tampa, and then a week off. And then we have Nashville, and then a week off. And I think North Americans is the following week after that, maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. We have several shows in a row going into September. So it's going to be busy few weeks. But like I tell you guys all the time, if you're going to be at any of the shows that I'm at and you want to pose, hit me up. We can definitely schedule posing sessions while I'm in town, even if you're not competing that day. If you are competing and you're working with me, you got your suit, you got your makeup, you got your hair, you got your posing with me or whatever, let me know, because I do photo shoots with all the girls almost every show that I go to, because I want to get pictures of you and videos of you and all that kind of stuff. So just let me know on that too. We do have space available for Masters Nationals. We've got 1 spot available on the bikini day if anybody needs makeup. And we have 2 available on the figure women's physique day if anybody needs makeup or hair. So, and then we have spaces available for Tampa, and we have spaces available for Nashville as well. And then we're into North Americans, which we'll know a little bit better once we get through Masters Nationals. But that's it for tonight. That's it. We made it. I swear, you guys. So, I work out at the shop gym in Manassas here, and I go there most of the time. I usually do my upper body days at the Planet Fitness down the street, and then do my lower body at the shop. Man, it was so hot in there today. I was sweating my butt off, and it was my longest workout that I do of the week. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I think I just lost a freaking 5 pounds in this freaking gym. Whew. And I'm feeling it now, man. That's why I had to go for the energy drink. So, is what it is. So, any questions, guys? I'll leave it open for another minute for questions, and then we'll close it down. And be paying attention, because Cuties Conquer the Stage stuff is coming very, very soon. Very soon. So keep watching. We'll let you know, obviously, as it comes and launches and all that stuff. We have some really cool topics this year that literally no other event has ever done. So just saying, it's going to be an amazing weekend regardless, but it's going to be a super awesome educational weekend this time. So, I mean, I say that every year, but we top ourselves every year. So we always got to find ways to top ourselves every year, which we do. So you guys are going to really, really love this. So I can't wait. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. Hope you all had a fantastic week so far, and we'll be back here again tomorrow night at 8:15, and we'll preview this coming weekend shows, and then we're off to Pittsburgh. All right. Hope you guys have a great night. Suitsymposium.com. You can click on this little QR code here to hit me up too if you need anything. And yeah, we got a good theme too. Don't worry, we got a good theme. And that's it. We're good to go. All right. I hope you guys have a great night. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Okay. Good night, you guys.